Yeah, I think it's more important we cover this.
What is the time that I have?
So, you finish Balaristha, we'll have a break and then we continue about heart and mental disease.
Okay. Balaristha is...
Heart and mental disease.
Sir, I have one question.
Please.
Is it possible to know that will a pregnant woman deliver a stillborn child?
Sir, you have to study the chart of the mother. I mean, father also, but mother. Child, of course, will not be there, so his horoscope will not be there. There are methods also of finding out the time of conception. And there is a method of making a horoscope for the time of conception, which is considered to be important. So that is also possible. But yes, mother's horoscope, that is more easily available. So from there, yes. Yeah. Okay, Balaristha. The term is Bal and Arisht, that is suffering to the newborn, suffering for the child who is just born. And the classics, they only use the black and white terms. If there is a Balaristha combination, they say it is death. If there is no Balaristha, they say it is something great. But we consider it as the suffering to the newborn and not necessary. They, as I told you, the language of classics is, if this is the situation, the child will survive only for a fortnight. If this is the situation, the child will live only for 2 years and so on. So that means that probably the dasha and other things are not important. But we have seen that even in Balaristha, the dasha order is very important, even in Balaristha. Because many times the Balaristha combination is there, but the child survives, does not die immediately, but when a certain dasha comes up, dasha comes into operation, then their Balaristha combination gets activated and then the death or suffering occurs. And of course, the role of transits, whenever there is a role of dasha, there is the role of transits also. These are some combinations: moon in the 6th house, 8th house, 12th house, malefic influence, retrograde benefics adversely placed, benefics under malefic influence, and one combination which I am very fond of is this retrograde Saturn in Mesh or Vrishchik, which is retrograde Saturn in the Rashi of Mars, either in the 6th house or in the 8th house or in a Kendra, aspected by a strong Mars, causes death within 2 years. It is a very, my favorite combination because I have a very interesting horoscope which is related to this. And I will show you some charts. Of a female native. She has, Sun at 7 degrees, Mars at 7 degrees, Venus at 7 degrees, Moon at 10 degrees, Mercury at 11 degrees, Saturn's 10th aspect on this house, retrograde Jupiter, which is 8th house, 8th Lord, is also aspecting this house. This child died within the first 7 or 8 days. So, she has all this combination. So almost anybody would say that this is bad. Now, I had a doctor couple who visited me and their son was also with them, 18 years old, and they said, please look at his horoscope. And I cast the horoscope. And I got the same horoscope. Only this time is 5 minutes past 12 midnight, and that boy's time was 40 minutes past midnight. Same horoscope, same disposition, what would you say? The important point is that never make a definite prediction about adverse things immediately. Look at other things also. This is a very weak horoscope. If you look at the horoscope, sufficient justification for the child not to survive. But then there was an 18-year-old child who had the same lagna and the same thing, because this lagna will remain there for a couple of hours. So you have to see the degree of the lagna, the divisional charts and so on, and also the horoscopes of the parents. For a child to die immediately, the horoscope parents would indicate that their child would die. So if there is a situation like this, it would be great not to make any great prediction on the basis of something which is so obvious.
In the earlier times, the exact time of birth was also not clear to anybody, not known.
This was 5 minutes past 12, and the other boy that came to me, that was 40 minutes past 12, but same horoscope.
No, my question is different. In the earlier times, nobody had a digital watch and exact time of birth, so time was all...
Sir, time was not all like that. They were great people who knew the exact moment of time by looking at the stars even. They were great people. Don't doubt their intelligence. They were very great people. And they had great achievements in astronomy. They had simple methods of, these latitudes and longitudes and planets' positions and so on. There are very simple methods described in the Indian classics without using any sophisticated instruments. So this is how you do not make predictions of adverse nature. This is a typical Balarist where moon is in the 6th house associated with Mars, associated with Rahu, and a special third aspect of Saturn on it. So this, of course, the child did not survive, but he survived initially because the Lagna Lord Jupiter is aspecting the Lagna, and Mercury is in its own house, also benefics aspecting the Lagna. So he survived, but then when the Dasha of the moon, this moon is the adverse lord of the 8th house, and moon's Dasha, when that Dasha came, then this Balarist combination that got activated, and he died. This boy had a retinoblastoma of his left eye. That was a malignant tumor affecting the left eye. So this is a Balarist. And if you have, I think we'll go back to the do not make any prediction, any adverse prediction without looking for its cancellation. So when there is a Balarist in the horoscope, there may be a Arisht Bhanga also there. So if there is a cancellation, don't make any bad prediction. No Balarist to be pronounced without identifying Arisht Bhanga. Strong Jupiter in the Lagna is the best protection. So strong Jupiter. If you have Mercury in the Lagna, if you have Venus in the Lagna, they are also protective because they are benefics. When Lagna Lord aspects the Lagna, the Balarist comes under the sway of Dasha order. That is our observation, that when the Lagna Lord is affecting the Lagna, then the Balarist does not happen as per the classic. It goes under the sway of the Dasha order, and when an appropriate Dasha operates, then this Balarist gets activated, and that is when the individual suffers. Moon in 6, 8 or 12 becomes a protector for day birth in Krishna Paksha, night birth in Krishna Paksha. These are technical things astrologers will understand. I think that is fine. We'll go to this chart, and I told you that I was very fond of that combination. Saturn in a house of Mars, retrograde in 6th house, 8th house, or in a Kendra, aspected by a powerful Mars. And we have a retrograde Saturn in the house of Mars, in the 8th house, aspected by Mars. Longevity of 2 years. And also, this Saturn is additionally afflicted by Ketu. Ketu is also there. So, there is more affliction than what the classic says. But then there is a very strong protection here. Jupiter in the Lagna, and very close, 16 degrees, 16 degrees. So this is an Arisht Bhang. And the Balarist we consider as a potential weakness. This is cancelled, so this should not create any problems. This Saturn is causing the Balarist, but Jupiter is protecting it. And what happened was that this moon here, it indicates that it was the Dasha of the sun at the time of birth, and then dashas went on. And Jupiter is the protector, so till the Jupiter dasha was there was no problem. And when Saturn dasha started, then she developed some problems. And it was in Saturn dasha that she developed a cancer of the breast. It was sometime in 1991, July or so. She was detected to have a cancer of her left breast. And surgery was done, chemotherapy was given, radiotherapy was given post-op. But then, sometime in the middle of 1993, she died. So, detected in the middle of 91, died in 93, approximately 2 years later, slightly more than 2 years later. So the Balaristha combination says longevity for 2 years. And this longevity was 2 years only after this Balaristha combination was activated. So you have to apply these things, these principles very differently, very judiciously, because if you consider this combination, you may say this child is not going to survive for more than 2 years. But then if you consider the Arisht Bhang, then you wait for the dasha of Saturn, which is the cause of Balarist, and then you can say, okay, probably 2 years. So that is how we deal with these. So I think if you want to have a break, that is fine.
So I think we have 3 more topics. One is heart disease, one is mental health, and one is congenital abnormalities. We'll do it after the tea break.
Sir,
And question answer session also.
Sir, small question. I'm listening.
Yeah, please.
A pregnant lady about to deliver her baby. Suddenly she developed fetal distress and herself also distress. Can the mantra chanting during that period can influence the delivery so that can deliver safely?
See, there is no proper study to tell you that this mantra will affect the situation this much. No scientific study in that to that extent has been done. But there is no harm in chanting the mantra. There is not going to do any harm. So try it, that is fine. We need to do a lot of research on the mantras. Mantras, I can't say that this mantra is going to be the panacea for everything. So if there is anything prescribed, go ahead and do it. But we don't have any study that shows that a particular mantra will, affect the situation to this extent.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
I'll try to add my experience to it.
Yeah. Okay.
You see, everything has a adaptation. To go to top of the hill, you will feel less sick. So when it comes to mantra, we think that you start chanting a mantra and it will affect. I think your body cells should be used to hearing mantras. They should understand the vibrations of the mantra. So I always say, if you want to have mantra as a treatment system, start chanting Om for 15 minutes, half an hour a day. Your cells will start reacting to the sound vibrations of the mantras. And maybe if the lady who's already listening to the Gayatri mantra in her life, or maybe daily listening to any kind of mantra, maybe Mahamrityunjaya mantra, her body cells has that vibrations to respond to that mantras. So maybe if that lady is listening to the mantra and then you are sounding some mantra, it might affect. But then everything needs acclimatization. Suddenly you are not using a particular language, your body system does not understand a particular language, and you want that suddenly starts affecting, it's not possible. The adaptation of the body to the sound vibrations of Om or certain mantras or Om Namah Shivaya something helps you in quickly, responding to the mantras. That is my experience. So how much experience that person is having of listening to the mantras does play a role. So can we have a break for the tea?
Very well explained.
Just a few words about congenital illness. It is supposed to be present from birth, starts during intrauterine life, may be inherited, often needs prompt and specialized treatment. So in this, what I want to say is that our people had a lot of understanding of congenital illnesses, and the intrauterine life, which is 10 lunar months, they have allotted the different planets for these 10 months. And this little, one line from an important shloka, Shukrar Jeev Ravi Shashi Sauri, Buddha Vilagna Podupadityaha. This explains the 10 lords of the 10 months of gestation. First is Shukra, that is Venus. R is Mars, that is Mangal or Mars. Jeev is Jupiter. Ravi is Surya, then Moon, then Sauri is the son of the sun god, that is Saturn. Buddha, Mercury. Vilagnapa is the lord of the Lagna at the time of conception. And then Odup means the moon and Aditya means the sun again. So these are the 10 lords for the 10 months of gestation, and it is said that if any of these is afflicted under adverse influence, then the problems occur during that particular month of gestation. I'm not going to go into details. I have got some horoscopes also, but I think that will take a lot of time, so we'll go to the next topic. Congenital illness, of course, you need to know this. There's a dasha of natural malefics at birth, dasha of functional malefics at birth, dasha of grahas which are under malefic influence, dasha of adverse grahas related to lagna or lagna lord, because lagna is your body, your health, and inherent weakness of the lagna or lagna lord, afflictions of the moon. All these are required to detect a congenital illness. And it is also very important for people who are studying medical astrology, even for a grown-up person, to see or look at the dasha which is operating at the time of birth. Because if you don't do that, you can miss something. So, dasha operating at the time of birth is something which is very important. I want to go to the next topic, which is the onset and outcome of disease. And how do you do that? Chart analysis has two aspects. One is the static aspect, the other is the dynamic aspect. Static aspect is when you study the chart and its vargas, its deviants, then you can see what all this horoscope holds for you, what promise it holds for you. So that is the static aspect of it. And of course you see that from the rising sign, you see it from the disposition of the grahas and the vargas and so on. But then, when will a certain thing happen? That is the dynamic aspect, fructification of the promise inherent in the horoscope. That will be shown by the dashas or operational periods of grahas and the transits. Let me go to the chart. That will be, I'll show you the importance of the, I'm sorry. I have to have some help. I have done some behind it. I taught medical astrology to some people in Germany. And I came to know later that one of the ladies, she went home and she saw this horoscope of her husband. And she said, your health is not all right, please go to some doctor and get yourself checked. So first he resisted, but then she persisted. So he went to the doctor and the doctor said, oh, nothing is wrong with you. He came back. Then after 3 months he again said, no, you must be having some problem, please go to the doctor. He went again and nothing was found. The basis of her insistence was that this man had started the dasha of Saturn, and Saturn is the Lord of the 6th house. Saturn is the Lord of the 6th house, and it is there in the Lagna, in the 1st house, exact degree, within 1 degree of the Lagna. So 6th house is the house of disease, and Lagna is your body, and Saturn is retrograde. So retrograde Saturn as the 6th Lord on the degree of the Lagna. It does not require any great science to understand that there must be some health problem. And the second time also the doctor said no, nothing wrong. And another 3 months later, he was found to have a cancer of the stomach, which was inoperable by then. And this man died during that dasha only. But the point is that our job is to warn. So probably a time will come when our warnings will be heeded more carefully. But right now, at least the medical profession does not heed the warnings of the astrologer. This dasha sequence is very important. In the progress of disease, if you have a good dasha and it is going to be followed by a bad dasha, that is the time for caution. You have to be careful. If you have a bad dasha followed by a good dasha, that is a time for recovery of the illness. If a bad dasha is followed by another bad dasha, then there is a prolongation of illness. And if there is a multiple bad dasha order, then there is no recovery. So this is one